Welcome into the News 10 Plus desk, everyone. I'm Taylor Gattoni with First Alert Meteorologist Justin Braford on this cloudy, somewhat snowflakey day.
Yeah, I got mainly some clouds and just a few snowflakes fluttering down. None of that's been sticking anywhere. Ground temps are still above freezing. We've had the warmest start on record to the month of February thus far. And that's really kept our ground temperatures warm for the time of year. We also have got such little ice coverage on the Great Lakes. Newest update this morning, data showing less than 3% of the Great Lakes are covered in ice. That is the lowest all time at this point in the year. So just not a lot of coverage out there on the lakes either. That does mean if we get cold air to slide in, better chance to see some lake effect precipitation as the cold air slides over the water. And so that's something we could deal with out onto Friday in some spots, but Thursday's the day we're circling on our first alert forecast here.
Yes, that is right. A little system moving in, so you want to make sure that you're staying up to date on the First Alert forecast, especially First Alert weather app, tuning in on air and online.
Right.
They've got you covered. There you go.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, we'll get right into it because we got a couple of different things going on in this forecast. The first one is a layer of clouds that's out there right now. Here's a live look Meridian Company Skycam network from the US 127 Skycam. Temperatures generally running in the mid-30s. We've got 35 this afternoon. Bit of a bite to the wind too, west-northwest at 14 miles per hour. Air's still fairly dry, and so the few snowflakes that have been able to make it to the surface, again, not really amounting to anything out there this afternoon. Here are where the temperatures stand for now. Charlotte is 36. We've got a few 37s in Jackson, Marshall, and Coldwater, and St. John's, along with Mason, are at 34 degrees, and Howell, the same reading too. Here's the satellite and radar. You see some of that scattered activity that's moving through the Great Lakes. A lot of that cloud cover once again, and a few of the light snow showers. Again, these are not sticking anywhere, but they are fluttering from time to time through the air. We may see a few of them yet before the day's done, but not to worry. They're not going to cause any impacts, and really visibility not being affected much either. It's such a dry air mass, and so you really don't have a whole lot in play. Now, you do look west and see a system out towards the Dakotas. That's kind of the area where we're going to watch our next area of low pressure move in from. In the meantime, very little taking place as far as discernible weather around mid-Michigan. And the first alert we wanted to give you was to that wintry mix on Thursday. Now, right now, what it is looking like is that this is a system that moves in very late Wednesday night and begins early Thursday, right around the time we'd be beginning our morning commute. And so this will bring what is likely going to be a slushy mix of rain and snow to mid-Michigan, slowing down travel, reducing visibility, and certainly extending those drive times out there and maybe even slicking up the roads in a few spots. Now, the good news is that with temperatures staying above freezing most of the day Thursday with the current forecast in a lot of our area, the roadways won't be as impacted as they would be if it was, of course, all snow. And it doesn't look like a big significant opportunity for any freezing rain or anything like that. This looks like it's going to be a fairly clear-cut kind of snow and rain mix, and then maybe a little bit of sleet in there, but even that has a little more traction if it's on surfaces. And so we'll kind of peek here at the hour by hour. Again, maybe a few flakes fly this afternoon. Temperatures top out around 36 in most spots. A few of us are already there. We'll fall into the 20s overnight, clearing those skies out. Tomorrow's a pretty good Valentine's Day. Temperatures are in the mid to upper 30s and maybe near 40 degrees in spots, and that'll be helped out by the sunshine. Now, last year we set a record on Valentine's Day, a high of 58 in Lansing, and we were very close to the record of 54 in Jackson, topping out at 53. So that was a very mild, for those of you who remember last year, Valentine's Day. Not quite as warm this time around, but we're still going to be above normal, and with the sunshine, that'll feel pretty good. Now, that's all, of course, ahead of this system, which we've been talking about. Here it comes in on Thursday, starting off as a bit of that rain-snow mix. It moves through fairly fast, though, and you see that by the time we hit early afternoon, it's past us, and the rest of the day, we might catch a flurry or two, but that's about it. We may wake up the lake headed out further into Friday, because again, not much ice coverage on those Great Lakes, and with this cold air spilling in, we'll talk temperatures in just a moment on how cool we'll get. But I did want to show predicted snowfall, and this is just one of our models and what it's suggesting for now. I've been expecting a lot of this snow that will maybe accumulate to be north of a Charlotte to Mason line. One of these models here is showing trace amounts in Lansing, Mason, and points north. You see the 2 to 4 line seems to be up once you get to Ionia to Owasso, really through St. John's, riding that M21 corridor north. And another big factor with the snowfall is that we expect to see a lot of rain mixing in and out. The temperatures, again, have been warm because it's been a record start to the month of February. That coupled with the fact that it's a quick moving fairly weak system, it's going to be really tough to throw down significant amounts of snow with this. And even if we are able to stack up a couple inches on the model, really how much of this is able to accumulate, and how much compacts, and how much do you see on the ground? Because even if officially 2 or 3 inches of snow falls, well, if that's compacting and melting as more is stacking on top of it, it might only at any time look like there's an inch of snow or less out there, even if the official total comes in at like 2 to 3. And so that's the trouble we sometimes face with forecasting. It's like, yeah, you know, technically 3 inches of snow fell, but then everyone writes in and says, we've only got an inch at my house. Well, there's compaction, there's all sorts of other factors in play. This is one where I think we end up seeing less than what the radar would suggest falls as far as what stacks up outside. But of course, we're going to keep you updated throughout these next couple of days in your First Alert forecast moving forward with full team coverage over these next few days. At some point or another, all 4 of us will be in tomorrow on Valentine's Day, and so you got to love that, right? And so 40 is the forecast high. We got sunshine out there, 37 Thursday. That'll allow a bit of rain and snow to mix. I think, again, if you're in Jackson and points south, you may not coat the ground at all with snow, even if we do see a little bit of it in the Lansing area and points north. A few lake effect flurries on Friday, but that, again, doesn't amount to much. And then we head out into Saturday, 28-degree forecast high. That would, by the way, be the coldest high temperature in 27 days if we get there, and that is really impressive for this time of year that we've gone so long seeing temperatures above 30 and above our normal average high. But of course, it's been a record start to February, and even the end of January was mild for the time of year. And even that cold snap, if you want to call it that, very short-lived. Back to the upper 30s Sunday, 40s for President's Day Monday, and most of next week we're going to be riding with those temperatures and a fairly dry forecast for now. And so we'll keep monitoring the opportunity for maybe some more lake effect Friday into Saturday. Really depends on the wind direction, exactly how cold the punch of air is, because we could maybe see a few bands develop, and I expect northern lower Michigan, really north of Mount Pleasant, will probably be hit by several inches of snowfall from the lakes over the Friday-Saturday timeline. Right now, it doesn't look like we get a ton of that, but all it takes is a little bit more of a northerly shift in a wind and a powerful burst of cold air. We could be talking maybe, again, this is a big maybe, a few light accumulations Friday or Saturday, and so we'll keep an eye on that. But right now it looks like Thursday's our main focus, and again, we're all coming back up to near 40 next week, and so the trend sort of shows that well, I think, here. Our average high is going to jump to 33. We've got just Friday and Saturday below it, and then we're right back on the horse, back up to around 40 degrees. And so really can't seem to shake this mild trend, which a lot of people probably grateful for, but that's what we have moving forward. And so one shot back to the 10-day quick is going to show you how all that plays out. Of course, as I mentioned, we're going to keep you updated with this First Alert forecast. It's always evolving, always changing. And if you're not able to catch us on air, online, or anything like that, there's a great tool that we've got also to do that, and you can go to the First Alert Weather app in order to get all that information. It's absolutely free to download in the App Store and on Google Play, and you've got all the great features that we always tout. Traffic is one of them that is non-weather related, but is impacted by the weather that you're able to use. You can customize it to your own settings and features, what you like to see, what you don't want to see. You can layer different things on our future, past, current radar. Really great tool to have, and it's got video updates as well, and so that's all good to have. Once again, First Alert Weather app, absolutely free. And when you come up to, again, a situation where we haven't had a lot of impactful winter weather, especially as of late, and so there are some folks, not saying you who's watching, but there are some folks who maybe forget a little bit how to operate and how to travel in those conditions. Of course, hopefully everybody stays nice and safe out there. Not going to be a really big, major, impactful system, but one nonetheless we haven't had many of lately, and so it's good to keep those all in mind. Defensive driving is the best key, especially when it comes to this weather.
Oh yeah, definitely want to make sure you're staying alert with all of the changing temperatures. Like Justin says, sometimes it's great to be confident. Sometimes you're a little too confident out on the roadways when there are more challenges. So. And
we've all been out there, not necessarily off the road, but we've all been out there feeling the slipping and sliding, even if we feel like we're driving at a safe speed. And so just be mindful of that. Could be something we deal with on Thursday morning.
All right. Well, thank you for that heads up, Justin. And like you said, download the First Alert Weather app. So there you go.
Yeah, good to have.
Yes, we will see you coming up on Studio 10 today.
Yes.
3 o'clock. And Justin was saying Studio 10 is very, very busy today. So we're just going to say where you can look forward and watch Studio 10. Of course, go to @WILX Studio 10 to any of their social media pages, or if you want to go back, rewatch anything, if you want to send someone a link, you are more than welcome to look at their YouTube channels, or that's usually where I go, but you can go to any of these different social media platforms so you can see what they're working on. And again, if you need some ideas for that warmer weather, or maybe, hey, it's getting cold out, you need to figure out what to do when it is the cooler temperatures and cloudy outside, go to Studio 10. Of course, they're on at 3 o'clock today, all week long. So make sure to go check them out. They're coming up in 45 minutes today. I do want to share what we have coming up during our 90 minutes of news, starting with first at 4. So we are talking about the 1-year mark at Michigan State University, where the mass shooting happened on campus this day a year ago, February 13th. 3 lives were taken, and that is Brian Fraser, Alexandria Verner, and Ariel Anderson. Those 3 lives taken on Michigan State University's campus, as well as 5 other students critically injured, and their lives forever being impacted and changed as they start to continue on moving forward. But with the 1 mark being today, many people still healing at different paces. Maybe some people have moved on, other people have not. The MSU Museum is collecting many of those items that were left behind after the shooting. That means items like flowers, letters, even people had stuffed animals there. Anything to remember those students, the lives lost, and what happened on this day. The MSU Museum is talking about those collections and how they're preserving them and displaying it to the community, and what they'll be doing going forth, gathering more information. So again, speaking to the director of the MSU Museum today, coming up on Mid-Michigan Matters, speaking on the collection of items after the MSU shooting on campus last year. Coming up, News 10 at 5 today. After last year's tragic shooting at Michigan State, legislators went to work passing new gun laws. And one of those new laws is an extreme risk protection order, otherwise known as a red flag law. So coming up on News 10 at 5 p.m., our Capitol correspondent Zachariah Wheaton explains the new laws that go into effect today. Coming up, News 10 at 5:30, former President Donald Trump is once again asking the U.S. Supreme Court for help. So we'll have what he is asking the justices to hear. And then coming up, News 10 at 6, you're seeing that on your screen, but if I take that down and instead put this up, coming up, News 10 at 6, we will have a commercial-free newscast featuring stories of strength and triumph at Michigan State University, and following the tragedy that campus saw 1 year ago today. So it will include stories such as Aaron Bowling's on how the school is encouraging anyone looking for healing to look out to our animal friends such as these horses. So hear from the leaders also, like Tom Izzo, who spoke to the Spartan community as both a member of the faculty and a parent. So again, that is what we have coming up, News 10 at 6. Again, you're seeing the horses on your screen because MSU encouraging anyone looking to heal to go toward animals, right? You've heard of comfort animals before. Well, that is what they're there for. So again, that is what's coming up in News 10 at 6. I do want to share what Riley Connell has coming up in our 90 minutes of news today. She is standing by right next to me. And Riley, welcome in. What can you share?
Hello. Well, I can share there's a lot of smiles out there today and some tears too. This is definitely a day of healing, but the message that I keep hearing is that everybody heals differently. So today looks really different for a lot of different students and staff. But I did stop by some of the healing through service and kindness events that are happening on campus today, or near campus rather. One at the International Center, right over there on Shaw, right on campus, and another at the Hannah Community Center. So kind of an opportunity for off-campus students to have some access to those events too, or just members of the community who want to come and help out. And so when they say, you know, healing through kindness and service, there are some different activities that fall into both of those lanes. So with kindness, we have people writing notes of support and attaching them to squishmallows for people to come and pick up. So that's kind of the kindness side of it. With service, they are helping to put together some bagged lunches for a Michigan nonprofit that helps kids who need meals, you know, get the nutrition that they need, the meals that they need. And another service activity that they're doing is putting some school supply bags together too. So taking this day to really focus on giving back to the community and doing something positive, you know, with this day of reflection. And along with all of that, they do have some counselors and some reflection rooms at both of these locations that are focused on, those students who need to come and talk to somebody. That service is right there for them when they get into the building. So both of those rooms were available at the Hannah Community Center and the International Center. So, yeah.
Well, it's great to hear all of the resources being provided, and not just the resources, but again, how the community is coming together, no matter what pace of healing that is, like you mentioned. And yeah, you said you saw some tears, you saw some smiles, and for some people this could be a smiling of coming together, we're glad that we're together. And then others, it's still a hard time, a touchy, sensitive subject. So yeah, no matter what pace you're going at, these resources, the community engagement, that's crucial.
Absolutely. And there were some students, they didn't have any filming or no cameras in these spaces to give those students the room that they need to breathe. They don't have to worry about, kind of putting on a face for other people who are there. So, in doing our job today too, there's kind of a reflection on, how do we treat this situation and how do we approach people in the right way and give people the space to talk when they're comfortable talking. So that was kind of part of the journey today too. And I did hear from some students who were willing to share a little bit about how they're spending the day and kind of what it means to them to give back to the community. So it was great to hear from them and some organizers who kind of put this event on, who were able to tell me more about, the planning process of doing something like this and kind of what things do look like, a year later, and trying to, forge a positive path into the future. So I heard from a lot of different people, but this is definitely a day of, trying to find a safe space, trying to find a peaceful space, and they are definitely, working as hard as they can to bring that to the students based on what I saw, So, like I said, a lot of smiles, a lot of tears, but, hopefully a day of, starting anew and trying to do something good for the communities around us. A lot of people were really excited to be there, bagging lunches and putting school supplies out there, so there were people who were just enjoying being able to take part in that day of service. And I talked to a lot of East Lansing community members who kind of had just come by the Hannah Community Center. That's where they spend their time on days like this, and they didn't know that these events were going on, but decided to join in when they found out. So there was a lot of that too, of kind of community-wide people coming together to help out others. So it was really nice to see as well.
No, that's really heart-touching. Yeah.
We're going to talk at 5 o'clock and at 6 o'clock a little bit more in depth about what some of those folks had to say about the day of service, and showing a little bit of what some of those projects looked like, not in the project rooms themselves, but some of the things that they had set up for students to take part in there. So yeah, you can tune in at 5 and at 6 to hear a little bit about that. So.
All right, well, thank you, Riley. Absolutely. One more time, I will share what else we have coming up during our 90 minutes of news. Again, still tying into Michigan State University. Thank you, Riley. And I also want to give a live look over Michigan State University's campus, because Justin was talking about the changing temperatures and weather that we're going to be getting over the next couple days. Again, we want to circle Thursday, especially for your morning commute. That is something you definitely want to keep an eye on. In fact, I'll show you that in just a second here, but you're seeing some of those snowflakes come down. Justin Braford was saying these will not stick, so do not expect any accumulation out on the roadways. Those should stay pretty dry, but you are continuing to see that cloud cover over Michigan State University's campus, so more of a cloudy, gloomy day today. I do want to show the 10-day forecast one more time as well. You are seeing this, and again, circle Thursday and even possibly Friday, Saturday, but Thursday for sure on that morning commute. You want to make sure you're staying alert. You can download the First Alert weather app, of course, to make sure that you're staying up to date on that. If there is more accumulation than expected, or hey, even less, that is something you would want to know. So again, download the First Alert weather app. That is completely free off of Google Play and the App Store. But of course, I did show a live look over Michigan State University. And so continuing with that, I do want to show our You're Not Alone mental health series. So all year long here on News 10, we are airing stories from community members, from healthcare professionals, on the various resources that are out there for you. And not just the resources, but also speaking on their own mental health journeys and what that's like to, you might not overcome it, but how to cope with it better, how to find different treatments, how to find that support group. So whether the weather is putting you in a mood, or maybe those feelings are still rising from the shooting that happened on Michigan State University's campus a year ago, go scan that QR code on your screen with your cell phone's camera. You will click on the link and that'll bring you to our website, wilx.com. And on there, you'll see information like the number to call or text, the Lifeline chat number, that is 988. Again, that number is 988. You can call or text that number. And if you're a veteran, you can press option number 1. That'll connect you to another veteran who has a better understanding of your personal mental health journey. And they can relate to you and help better understand and improve your emotional well-being. So other than that, on the site, what you'll be able to see is different counties with a list of resources underneath them. For example, Hillsdale, Jackson, Shiawassee, Clinton, Eaton, and Ingham, Hillsdale, Lenawee, all of those counties have various resources underneath them. If you need a resource, that is where you can go. And it's good, just a good way to have some guidance as well. So again, go scan that QR code. Again, if you are having those feelings arise today on the 1-year mark of the shooting on Michigan State University's campus, going through a hard time, know that you're not alone. Again, many students, staff, faculty, community members coming together today to give back to the community as a thank you, and just coming together in a time of healing and remembering. So go scan that QR code and know that you're not alone. I do want to share what Tanaya Jordan has coming up during our 90 minutes of news, News 10 at 5:30. So we're going to hear from Tanaya.
Good afternoon. Today on News 10 at 5:30, I'm talking to the Nokomis Cultural Heritage Center, Meridian Township, about the vandalism that was placed on their building last Friday. Find out more coming up today. For now, back to you.
All right, thank you, Tanai. Again, you were seeing the vandalism right there that Tanai was able to capture, seeing it on the screen right here. So she's going to be talking more about that again at News 10 at 5:30 today. Before we head out, I will give another live look. Let's start over Michigan State University one more time. Again, a very heavy, impactful day on campus today. But I also want to show what you can expect down in Jackson, giving kind of another look. So I can show you a look over downtown Jackson right now, and you were seeing that continuous cloud cover over there as well. But it doesn't look like any of those snowflakes really coming down. So again, just something to keep an eye out for. Again, that Thursday, expect some of that wintry system to move in. You can always download the First Alert weather app for more of that information, more of those updates. And there you go. Until then, make sure you guys are staying safe out on the roadways. If you are going on Michigan State University's campus, I hope this brings you a time of healing and remembering, and continue to stay with us here on News 10, because coming up News 10 at 6, commercial free, that is what's going to be happening. So I do want to make note of that. We will have the 6 o'clock be commercial free to focus on the stories of strength and triumph at Michigan State University. Again, following the tragedy 1 year ago today, News 10 at 6 will be completely commercial free, recapping all of the events from the police response to what has changed on Michigan State University's campus. That is what we'll be touching on today. Again, News 10 at 6, so make sure to tune in. And one more time, if you do need the resource, if you are feeling a bit more down, or no matter how you're feeling, go scan that QR code. Maybe you know someone who's going through a rough time. You can pass this information along to them. So again, Studio 10 coming up in a half hour today, followed by First at 4, and then our 90 minutes of news. Again, I'll play that full screen one more time if you need it. Spartans Remember comes on at 6 o'clock today during our 90 minutes of news. Again, completely commercial free, but it's called Spartans Remember because that is the goal, a time of remembrance. So we love you, Spartans everywhere, and to the community, thank you for coming together, healing, and continuing to build each other up during these hard times. So I hope you guys have a nice remembrance of a Tuesday, and you take time for yourself, you take time for others, and you can join us again, Studio 10 coming up at 3 o'clock in half an hour today, followed by First at 4 and our 90 minutes of news. Thank you for joining the News 10 Plus Digital Desk. We hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday.